A deadline for mooring and marina waitlist renewals and a fun class for kids on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Friday, March 9th, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. Daylight savings time begins this weekend. Don't forget to turn your clocks ahead. That's right, it's time to spring forward. The time change is effective at 2 a.m. Sunday morning. Our local fire departments remind us that this is always a good time to check and replace batteries in smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Daylight savings time ends in November. We also remind our viewers that mooring and marina waitlist renewals are due at the Harbor Master's office by 4:15 p.m. next Thursday evening. No excuses. Natural Resource Officer Amy Rado tells us about this deadline, as well as gives some information about a great clamming class for kids taking place on Sunday. So let's start off with some housekeeping. I know that mooring and marina waitlist renewals, the deadline for sending those in is coming up.
It is, yes. Marina and mooring waitlist renewals are due by Thursday, March 15th at 4:15 p.m. in the Harbor Master office.
So that is next week. That is next Thursday. So people have less than a week to get those renewals in. Are there still a lot of outstanding renewals out there?
I mean, people have been pretty good about it, but we always just like to remind everyone, because if your waitlist renewals are not received by that date and time, you will be removed from the list, and there are no exceptions to that.
And that's definitely good to be aware of, especially with those wait lists being so very long and so very difficult to get on.
Yeah.
You definitely want to make sure you have those on, and as you say, no exceptions to that. So if your renewal is not in by 4:15 p.m. on March 15th, you are out of luck.
Absolutely.
Now, do people have to do that in person? Can they send them in through the mail?
Actually, I believe there are some people, there's actually a lot of people that mail them in. Most people do mail them in. But some people come in, because obviously our office staff is excellent and they like to ask other questions, or maybe they want to renew their shellfish permit at the same time that they're bringing in their renewals. So you can do it either way.
Exactly. Now, for people who mail it in, does it have to be received in the office by 4:15, or does it have to be postmarked by March 15th?
It has to be received in our office.
Okay, that's definitely good to know. So again, reminding people that those mooring and marina waitlist renewals due by 4:15 on Thursday.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about the Razor Clams for Kid class. This seems like a lot of fun. Of course, gets underway. That's this Sunday, right?
It is, yes, and it's earlier in the morning than it would be due to daylight savings change. So the class will be held Sunday, March 11th. That's this Sunday at Scudder Lane at 7:45 in the morning.
Great, and that's, of course, 7:45 a.m. It's going to be really 6:45 a.m. because we have the time change this weekend, so I think that's a good thing for people to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how many people show up, but the wind direction is going to be good, and it's supposed to be a minus tide, so the tide should be really pushed out very far. And there is, it's a unique area because it's recreational shellfishing only. It's not open to commercial shellfishing. And there's just a huge set of razor clams there. So we've been trying to drum up interest from the recreational shellfishers. And it's been working to the point where we're not restricting this class to kids only. We're allowing adults to join in and participate on Sunday if they're interested to see how exactly the process goes down.
Great. Well, that's definitely good. So kids and their parents can participate, get a little education, and learn a skill, and they can go out and harvest those razor clams. Now, those are good to eat too, right?
Oh, absolutely. I often refer to them as the poor man's scallop because they're very sweet. They cook up extremely fast, and when you harvest them the way that we're doing, which will be salting for them, it is. So it makes it so easy, it almost seems wrong.
Tell me a little bit about the process. How exactly do you harvest razor clams?
Well, the old way of doing it was you dig for them, but they're actually one of the fastest shellfish so far as digging is concerned, and they can get away from you rather easily, and they do have sort of long, sharp shells. So you're liable to cut your fingers. What we did discover, and that other people have done in the past, is that you can create a very super salty saltwater solution, and you spray it into the razor clam hole, and what it does is irritate the razor clam, and after a few minutes they get agitated enough that they actually come out of their holes.
To see, what's going on here?
Yeah, then you can just literally pluck them out of the ground.
Wow, so really easy. So I guess that's a good thing for kids to learn, a really easy way to be able to do it. Just squirt some, as you say, the saltwater solution on. It doesn't hurt the razor clam, but
Nope.
irritates it just enough to come out and poke its head up and see what's going on, and then you can snap it up and make it for dinner.
Yeah, and the process is fun, and one of the other great things about razor clams is that there's no minimum size on them. So it's something that you don't have to worry about measuring. You can take any size that you get, so that sort of, eases concerns for some people that are worried about taking seed.
Great, definitely good to know as well. So talk to me a little bit about, I understand the kids are not only going to get a lesson in how to harvest these razor clams, but they'll also walk away with a certificate and some other kind of souvenirs of the day, if you will.
Yes, we do. We give every kid that participates a Clamor Kid badge. They are the same color, not necessarily the same design, but the same color as the stickers for the permits that we give out to the adults every year. And they go into the same sleeves to sort of, make them feel like they're part of the shellfishing group. And then I also create an activity booklet / field guide that is the same color as the regulation books that we give out to the adults that we give to all of the kids. And it has, just sort of descriptions of all of the local shellfish and how to measure them, how to tell them apart from, other shellfish. And it has some fun mazes and puzzles in there. And then we also give them a certificate of completion after the course is over.
Excellent. So if people want to participate in this class, that seems really like a lot of fun, a good way to get out there on Sunday morning. Do they have to sign up in advance, or can they just show up at Scudder Lane ready to dig? They
can just show up. We do want people to have a valid 2012 shellfish permit, if possible, just so that they can keep their catch. But if it's too short notice for people, we would never turn anyone away that would potentially enjoy shellfishing.
Great. So talk to me a little bit if people may want to participate. They don't have their shellfish permit right now. Is it too late for them to get it today to be able to sign up on Sunday? Is it something they can acquire while they're out there on Sunday?
No, we actually don't do any sales on the weekends. But if they came to the class, we do have volunteers that would be willing to give up their razor clam catch for the week so that these people would be able to, at least take them home and try them and see if they like it.
Great. So again, that's 7:45 a.m. this Sunday morning over at Scudder Lane. Of course, that's on the north side here in town.
Yep.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about license fees. Amy, I understand they've changed a little bit since last year.
The first year they did change was last year. Our resident permits for if you're under the age of 65 are now $30. The first year we implemented that was last year. If you're a resident, you're over 65, we'll give it to you for $20. If you don't live in the town of Barnstable, it's going to cost you $120 to get a shellfish permit, unless you want a seasonal permit, which will cover you from June 1st to September 1st, and we sell those for $60.
Great, and that's good for the visitors, the summertime residents that may want to do some clamming while they're here.
Exactly.
Great. And so moving on a little bit from that, I want to talk a little bit about herring. I understand there's been some interesting things going on in the world of herring. So talk to me a little bit about that, Amy.
Yeah, I think probably one of the most interesting things is that we saw one yesterday when we were in the Santuit run. So they are starting to show up, and it's quite a bit early. I think pretty much most of nature is about 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time this year. So we're trying to make sure that we have been in every single active run that we have in this town to make sure that they're clear for the fish to get up into the ponds. And it is worth noting that the state has extended the moratorium on river herring, which means that until further notice, the harvest, possession, and sale of river herring in the Commonwealth is prohibited.
Amy joined me on this morning's episode of Barnstable This Morning. Don't forget, Barnstable This Morning is now a 2-hour program. We start each and every weekday at 7 a.m. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.